Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be ranking all of the cards from Heatwave Arena, the first half of Destined Rivals, a set that's set to be one of the best of the entire Scarlet and Violet era. From what we're seeing already in Heatwave Arena, it seems that things are going to be absolutely incredible in Destined Rivals, which is going to incorporate Rocket as the second half. Now, I thought we'd go through the cards in this set to sort of like gauge how the set is going, give my opinions on the cards and takes, and also how it kind of fits in this particular half, at least as far as concrete evidence wise, how this is going to probably fit into the overall Scarlet and Violet era. And I'm going to be like completely objective on these cards, right? I just want to give my proper take as individual cards separated from the set. So if we're taking a look at the Shaymin, I think this is a C tier, and the reason being, we have some really nice Shaymin cards historically in the TCG. If y'all might have seen, in Pocket TCG, we got an incredible Skyform Shaymin. I think that one trumps this one all day long. I think that's one of the things as well, since we're getting those digital artworks that are absolutely outrageous and beautiful, it really raises the bar for artworks. And so for me, I just don't think the Shaymin really measures up. So I just have to put that right here for now. Next up, we have Cynthia's Roserade, and now Cynthia is my absolute favorite character of all time, alongside Giovanni. Of course, Destined Rivals actually is incorporating both, and the reason being, I loved Cynthia's character when I watched the show back in Generation 4, and she was the first like proper champion introduced in the show. Lance was sort of this like Elite Four member. He later became a champion, so she was the first proper champion. Really amazing sort of combination with the Garchomp. And Giovanni, obviously the iconic villain. I don't know what it is about his character that I always really loved. Particularly during X and Y, they had this sort of side special series called Pokemon Origin, and he was absolutely tremendous in that. So I guess that's part of the affinity that's sort of raised for me. But regardless, so sort of Cynthia is like a really great character. So I think whether you played the games, you engaged in the anime, or even if you collected back in Gen 4, you're gonna love Cynthia, her character, her cards. But I think the artwork's really nice as well. It has this sort of ethereal effect about it. The Roserade, perhaps not the most popular Pokemon, I'm not gonna lie. I like it, it's not bad, but it's not my favorite. But there is a really nice aesthetic about it. Very sort of non-Pokemon anime, at the same time sort of Horizon aesthetic that's sort of been played into a lot, and I think that's really nice. So it definitely sits it at the A tier for art rare. Really nice there. Next up, we have Yanma, and I think the issue with this card is just too plain. Although it does have a connected artwork, I think that Yanma as a Pokemon is okay. Right, and the artwork, I think it's definitely better than the SIR, but at the same time, it's kind of hard to judge it as B tier when it's just a Yanma just flying over the water. And we don't even have like a really good picture of this. Of course, that could sort of change my opinion later on, but for now, going off the images and so forth, we almost have perfect images for most of these cards. But some of them like the Shaymin and the Yanma, we don't have perfect ones yet, so I'm just gonna see that C tier for now. Next up, we have Crustle. I'm just gonna place a D tier. It's just so like underwhelming, honestly. I liked the Beware artwork because that was actually kind of like, I don't know, it was really simple, but it was kind of like imposing, and it really reminded me of sort of the scenes in Sun and Moon where Beware is this huge incredibly strong teddy bear that absolutely just destroys forests and has this completely insane strength about it. And there's also these moments where it just like detains Team Rocket and completely like puts them on house arrest. And so it's sort of like appearance is almost always in that imposing nature, and that was fun and that was interesting. So I liked the artwork for that reason. It tied into the anime really well. The Crustle is just sort of meh, right? It doesn't have anything happening in it. Crustle's not a bad Pokemon, right? We had it in Black and White. One of Ash's traveling companions, Silent, has a Dwebble as a partner, eventually evolves into this Crustle. Pretty solid Pokemon in the anime. Just not great artwork on it. Next up, we have Hydreigon. I think this is like an A tier card, honestly. We have had so many Apple Pokemon, it's kind of getting a little bit tiresome. So based on the specific artwork itself, I have to say it's really stunning. The all the heads using Hyper Beam or Flamethrower, whatever's happening there at once, really nice. And I think this honestly trumps the SIR, which the SIR has a very unique mural aesthetic to it. But I don't think that's up everyone's alley. This one seems a little bit more dynamic, a little bit more action-packed, which is definitely something that can hold well for the card. Next, I think I will just go in a little bit randomly here. So I want to pick up this Lapras here. The thing is, Lapras, super popular Pokemon. Ash had it during the Orange Islands, which after his battle through Kanto, and so it was really interesting to see sort of Misty and Lapras card right here. But the thing is, Misty is like super tiny in the card, almost like, I don't even know if that's a chibi or like a figurine sort of aesthetic. It almost looks like Lapras is afloat, and then there's this like toy Misty chilling on the flipper. So it's kind of, I don't know, it's a little bit mid, honestly, for me, this artwork. Like, I don't like it that much, honestly. For Misty, I just felt like it could have been so much better for a Misty and Lapras card. So I'm going to have to put it right there in C tier. The best in the C tier, but still not hitting the points for me. I would have loved to see maybe like a herd of Lapras with Misty sort of sitting atop one of them. Lapras is like a ride Pokemon. The whole point is it sort of helps people travel the sea and so forth. So I feel like that would have been a really nice aesthetic for it. They're also sort of shown to travel in herds. Again, that's another point. This kind of doesn't lean into Lapras that well. Next up, we have Electrike. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like some of these are just so good, and then some are just like completely meh artworks. Like, I don't even know. So I'm a person who appreciates simplicity and who appreciates dynamic art style, but there's some that just do nothing for me, and this is one of those cards where it's just sitting in a field and it doesn't even feel contemplative or any sort of like serene nature to it when it should be striking those chords. So I'm gonna just put it there. I don't know. Maybe people love Electrike. I don't even like it that much. I definitely say Magnetric's much better. So I'm gonna just sit it right down there in D. Maybe better than Crustle. Crustle's just, it's a hard art, man. I'm not liking that one for sure. Alright, next up, let's pull out something a little bit more entertaining, yeah? I think we'll get this Rapidash. I think this one's solid A tier, honestly. Really, really good. The only issue is the perspective is a little bit weird. Like, the first time I saw it, I was like, what is going on here? Is this like sort of a anime sort of esque artwork when you have like a background moment when there's a character in the sky and then you're just seeing the landscape? And then I realized, no, it's just like a really, really close up shot of Rapidash sort of chilling in a field of flowers. I love the fire swirling around. A lot of those cards happening in recent, like, we had the Salamence as well, sort of having that aesthetic. Really, really nice. I do like that. Definitely solid A tier cards and completely meh bottom. Like, there's no in between as you're seeing right now. But next up, I think that this is just like S tier. Ethan's Typhlosion. What's really, really fun about this is I would play all of the games, from Gen 4. And one of the main games was a remake of Generation 2, Heart Gold, Soul Silver. Fantastic, fantastic series. Some people even, actually a lot of people argue that absolute best games, Nintendo games. And one of the main characters is Ethan, right? One of my friends, he played the male character with Typhlosion, so it reminds me very distinctly of that. I played Typhlosion too, naturally. Find that I gravitate towards the fire types generally. I don't mind the golds, generally speaking, but the only issue is, the issue is I don't like the way the trainers look in the full arts or golds. It's something about them. They look sort of, not like in the art rush, not like in the SARs. They look fake for some reason. And it just adds a sort of sour look to the cards. So I think I'm going to put the next gold in right there as well. Overall, as you're seeing, the set is pretty much sort of split in between the middle. With the exception of the gold cards. I'm sort of going into that point here, right? Like, if the cards are great, they are amazing. If they're mid, then they're just not hitting right. And so I'm hoping the Rocket, when it comes out, it'll add to the set in a way that actually complements sort of the mid tier a little bit better. So give some like middle range B tier cards that are really, really nice, and then add some stunning S tiers, right? And then maybe some DC tiers, because you gotta have that mix in, right? We definitely are seeing a bit of a divide here. Next up, let's go with the Mabosstiff, and I think this is a C tier, honestly, for me. I don't think many of us were looking forward to another Arven card, right? He's had 2 SAR so far, and unlike Penny, they have all been Arven cards, right? Like, Penny had a Cassiopeia, which is her, like, persona, her online hacker persona. So this is just Arven eating again with his Pokemon. Another reason is I pulled both of the Arven, which was like nice actually, the first one. Then I pulled in Japanese in Scarlet Violet base again. I was like, okay, still really cool, that's awesome. And then I pulled in Paldean Fates, and then I was like, okay, Arven again. And oh my goodness, if I end up opening any Destined Rivals and I pull Arven again, I don't know what I'm gonna do. So I'm just gonna say that this is C tier and end it there. Next up, we have Rotom. And this actually reminds me a lot of the Pocket TCG artwork. So you know what? This one was a decent one. Just think the Lost Origin Rotom was way better. I don't like the art style here per se. But I think it's definitely better than the ones below it right here. So next up, I think Misty Psyduck. I don't think it's really surprised what's going to be in the S tier, right? Like, Misty Psyduck, really, really cool. I just wish they had done one particular thing. I wish we had seen sort of Psyduck struggling to swim, because that's really unique to Misty. Her Psyduck, which is completely bizarre, can't swim in the water, and it'll consistently persist and attempt to get in the water. Then it'll be like flailing around, trying its best not to sink in. And then Misty will be there just sort of smacking her head, be like, oh my gosh. So I wish we kind of saw that honestly happening in the artwork. And Misty looks a little artificial. Like, let me know in the comments what you think, but I don't know what it is. Her face has this like bizarre formation. I don't know if it's the angling or what's happening, but it looks a little bit weird. I definitely think that the Misty Starmie looks better in that regard. It looks natural, it looks elegant. I don't know, they're sort of like two different artworks, right? This almost goes for a little bit more of a photorealistic style with the water. Looks like they put a rubber duck Psyduck in, and then maybe like a figurine of Misty. So maybe that was what they were going for. Maybe that's why the art looks like that, right? So, you know, justifications are here and there. And oh my word, another Arven. Like, what are we gonna do, y'all? What are we gonna do? Another one. It kind of looks like the Rotom, so it has that kitchen look again to me. The cooking game look. I would have actually preferred if they just took out the Mabosstiff card, because I don't think Mabosstiff is looking that great here either. In the Scarlet Violet games, there's a really sweet sort of story between Arven and Mabosstiff. Mabosstiff sort of injured in the crater of Paldea, and Arven sort of slowly attempting to rejuvenate his health, and you sort of help him attain these herba mystica, which help revitalize its health, which is, you know, a nice sweet storyline, and eventually sort of it builds the strength, and that's really nice. And honestly, I feel like that could have been a really cool card, right? Showing Arven sort of venturing into the cave and Mabosstiff ambling towards him in the background with, you know, herba mystica in his hand or something, or sort of glowing in the cave. That would have been really cool. I think that would have been interesting. But we got dining table card again, so anyway, somehow I ended up talking about this Mabosstiff again. Let's move on. Next up, Yanmega. I think this one also is like C tier. I don't mind Yanmega. Jessie had a Yanmega, you know, it was pretty fun. Its personality, the way sort of, whenever Jessie has a Pokemon, it's just kind of fun, right? The way that it behaves, the way that she interacts with. I remember particularly because this was Gen 4 and I watched that series like through and through. And yeah, the Yanmega was pretty chill, right? It was pretty fun. After she releases her Dustox, she sort of steals this Yanma from a little kid and ends up getting this Yanmega as a result. So that was like, yeah, cool, but the card is kind of lackluster in my opinion. You know, you can't have every SR hit. So next up we have Ethan's Pichu. I think this one's really solid. I'll put that in solid A tier. I don't know, honestly, maybe, yeah. Honestly, S tier. We're seeing Cynthia and Pichu in the card as well, which is pretty nice. But anyway, and I don't think this even needs conversation. Like, I'll just plot these here, right? There's no question. Why is this not switching? Okay, there we go. And then we got the Ho-Oh right there. I think that's pretty much my ranking system for this. Pretty much saying that the Cynthia is better because the Ho-Oh kind of lacks energy in its art. So I think it doesn't... It's a little bit faded. Now, I do kind of wish they put the rainbow in as well in the card. It's not very evident, even if there is one. But it's still Ho-Oh. It's still a great artwork. You know, Ethan, love the character. You know, pretty cool overall. Iconic shot of Ho-Oh flying overhead, as I mentioned actually plenty of times in previous videos, where sort of that's the first episode in Pokemon ever, and you know, Ash is sort of laying on the ground, finally earns Pikachu's respect, they become true partners, and then overhead Ho-Oh flies, the call of the rainbow in the background, and I think that is what's going to really, really resonate with a lot of people for this card. And then next up we have Cynthia, and again an iconic shot because the first time we see Cynthia is in a tournament in her sort of champion style battles, and Garchomp is of course her partner in the moment, and we get to see her battle take place, and sort of we're seeing her in her element, right? Taking on a challenger perhaps. We see her on screen. We get to see her as a person as well in the card. And then Garchomp, really, really nice. I love how it's in the foreground without detracting from Garchomp itself, but at the same time elevating the artwork and style of the card because Cynthia is in it in a prominent enough way. So that's pretty much my ranking here. I think Destined Rivals is going to hit really hard. Going to be a great set. I'm really looking forward to Rocket. As I mentioned, Rocket is my favorite WotC set alongside Gym Challenge. So it's really like the meshing of best worlds here. For me, I'm really excited. Let me know in the comments what you think about this first half of Destined Rivals. If you want to check out a video I made on Journey Together and why it might not be the best set to invest in right now, check this video out right here. I hope you all have a wonderful day and I'll catch you on the next one.